Personally, I actually think that Nintendo's E3 presence has been really good this year. I don't know, realistically, if you could have expected much more from the Spotlight presentation. Granted, having a couple of the announcements, i.e. Metroid and Pokemon, being, like, literally just announcements, like, no gameplay, no screenshots, no anything, really, is a little bit disappointing. Well, you know, no, it's not disappointing, it's just more of a, it's a cock tease. Because at that point, you've got nothing to go by. And in a way, actually, it's not necessarily conducive to hype because... God, I hate that word. Because you don't even know what you're getting excited about, in a way. Anyway, yes, the positives, because there still are positives. It was just really solid. Rocket League, excellent. That's perfect. That's really something that I've been desperate to have on Switch. Not because it needs it. Yeah, sure, you can play it on, anything these days. If you really wanted to, I'm sure you could find a way of playing it on a microwave. But it's a really big platform of a game, and to have Nintendo exclusive stuff is pretty cool. I'm interested to see what kind of stuff that will be as well. I can't imagine the vehicles will be Mario Karts in the conventional way, i.e. I can't picture Rocket League in which you control Mario in a kart. But there have been some vehicles from Mario Kart which might work. And I would have thought maybe like the Blue Falcon from F-Zero, which would be taking the piss really in a way, simply because of the lack of love that F-Zero gets. But that could be a possible thing. To be honest, rather than speaking specifically about every little bit, because realistically that's what everyone does, my general thoughts after it are that I'm happy with where the Switch is going, and that I feel confident that on a game per month basis I will be satiated, essentially. Because this month, which is June, in case somehow I upload this late, which shouldn't happen, bearing in mind I'm not even going to edit it, potentially at all. This month we've got ARMS and the first lot of Breath of the Wild DLC. The next month is Splatoon. The month after that we've got Mario and Rabbids. Then you've got September. I'd be tempted to predict that Ukulele could come out on Switch in September. I do have doubts over its over whether it will run particularly well, simply because we've only seen a screenshot, a still image of it running on the Switch, and also because of the fact that they couldn't get it to work on the Wii U. So I don't know about that. But either way, yeah, let's just assume September and assume that it might be all right. Then October, you've got Mario Odyssey, for goodness sake. November, let's just assume Rocket League will come out in November, why not? And then December, I mean, for me personally, I might not actually get Xenoblade 2, but it's a big game release. And of course there's other things that I've missed this year, and there'll be other things like, indie titles and whatnot. So for me personally, that's actually a really nice little run, because ultimately the way I see it is that Nintendo are trying to carve their own niche, and that's working for them. It worked with the Wii. Granted, it was the downfall ultimately in terms of the shovelware titles, but it's a different kind of proposition, the Switch. Yeah, it's a bit less powerful. Well, it's quite a lot less powerful. But the portability means that actually, if and when it comes to the point where third-party developers are making unique experiences on the Switch, hopefully they'll be unique in that they really benefit from being able to be taken on the go, rather than it being dumbed down and whatever you want to say about the sort of exclusive third-party games that the Wii got. Feels weird, doesn't it, jumping straight back from Switch to Wii, but really there's nothing to say about third-party stuff on Wii U because there just isn't any. Mario Odyssey, by the way, absolutely mental. Absolutely batshit. I did not expect the quirk, or the gimmick, whatever you want to call it, with the hat to be present, and the trailer really intentionally threw a proper curveball, because I was watching it with my girlfriend at the time, and I said that by that wording, by the way, I don't mean girlfriend at the time as in... At the time of me watching it, I was with... This isn't helping. I watched it with my girlfriend. She's still my girlfriend. There we go. Cool. Got there in the end. Yeah, I said to her that it looked like it was going to be Monster Hunter or something. And then, oh, hang on, no, he's got a Mario cap on. And a moustache. Very cool. Very interesting. There's very few question marks left for me regarding Mario Odyssey, really. I mean, of course... I think what it comes down to is... Are there going to be many kingdoms, as they've been calling them, worlds, whatever? Are there going to be many of those? And well, for me personally, it will be, does it play well? Because obviously I'm not at E3, so I don't know. The Game Explain guys said that it felt a bit weirdly like a Mario 3D World, which I haven't got too much of a problem with, but I know exactly what they mean when they say about the sort of slightly heavy and not particularly fast movement. But yeah, Mario Odyssey looks amazing, to be honest with you. I do still have question marks in a way over the not art style. There's something visually slightly off, and I think maybe it all stems from the humans, to be honest with you. But something's not quite right. And maybe it's because New Donk City looks slightly washed out. I don't know. But then it's supposed to, because I think it's supposed to look like an ordinary city, so, shut up. But I don't know, somewhere in the back of my head, I can't help but feel as though, in a weird way, Mario Galaxy and, of course, Galaxy 2 were better looking games than Mario Odyssey. And maybe that's a really silly thing to say. It could be rose or red tinted spectacles. But yeah. Anything else? Kirby and Yoshi for 2018, that's cool, that's nice. They'll probably be quite early in the year, and they'll probably be good. I don't think either look amazing, but I think that's kind of what you expect from both of those franchises. That, as much as it might upset some people, they aren't considered to be Nintendo's absolute biggest names. They are big names in sort of Nintendo's roster of characters that appear in Smash, for example. But I just feel as though, in terms of Nintendo's biggest selling and most anticipated games, the ones that are going to generate the most buzz, they're like second tier rather than top tier, I suppose. And so those who are expecting Smash to be announced or expecting Animal Crossing to be announced, I just think you've got to be realistic. Nintendo were never going to mention multiple big games in one E3. It's just not going to happen, especially because E3 isn't now the kind of... I mean, it may still be the main focus, but it certainly isn't where all the announcements are. Nintendo does things their own way now, and they can just spring up a direct out of nowhere, essentially. So, who knows? It's kind of weird that we don't yet know anything about Virtual Console, and it's a little bit odd that... Well, no, it's really odd that you've got kind of probably problems with voice chat and the whole online service they're going to have, to be fair. That I'm kind of dreading that coming about, and it's not because I'm going to have to pay, because it's cheap, but it's more because I don't trust Nintendo to deliver a decent service. I trust them with games, and to some extent I trust them with hardware, but in general I cannot see it being a particularly competent structure. I know what I mean to say, I just don't quite know how to express it. But in general, I'm really happy with what we've seen at E3. I'm really enjoying watching the Treehouse, as cringeworthy as some of the people can be. And yeah, I'm feeling really positive about it. But what I really want to emphasise is that it's not... Because you always get people saying, oh, who won E3? And I think it's nice to kind of evaluate who has done the best job of working on the most exciting games or putting together the best presentation. But I don't like the fact that it kind of fuels the fire of the console wars. I just don't get it. I think certainly, and potentially especially with Nintendo, it's a separate entity. If they were to tackle Microsoft and Sony head on, they would lose, hands down. And I think they're aware of that, and that's why they've been doing what they've been doing, for better or worse. Because of course, they've not always been able to carve their own niche through their own faults. But I just think it's too easy to sling shit these days, either at Nintendo or indeed at, well, to a small extent Sony and to a larger extent Microsoft. And actually, I think, you know what, let's just celebrate what we do have, whether or not the consoles are underpowered, or you don't like the controller, or they... God damn it, what was I going to say? Or it's expensive, or goodness knows what. Just, I guess it's hard, isn't it? It's hard when gaming is such an expensive hobby. I guess ideally I'm trying to say that it would be really nice if we could just all enjoy the games that are out there and have fun and coexist happily. What a ridiculously pointless message to end the video on, because no, that's never going to happen. Oh, and rest in peace, Rabid Luigi.